All right, what's up, YouTube? I'm here today with Combat Engineer Tom.
Hey.
We're going to discuss the newest Trench Crusade changelog. It's going to eventually be version 1.6.2. I'm pretty happy with it overall. Lots of changes to the Court of the Seven. They also added some errata for what is it? The
French Ghosts.
Trench Ghosts. Very nice.
Oh,
We
yeah.
all love the Trench Ghosts.
A couple of little fixes.
Yeah, I know some people are pretty unhappy about that right now, but I kind of wanted to try.
Oh, yeah. There are people pissed about the entire thing. It's actually kind of great.
Yeah, I feel their pain after losing my infernal armor on every single demon, but it's a give and take. As well as some probably much needed changes to the Black Grail. I think maybe a little more fine tuning to Black Grail. But that's just because we've been getting battered by them for the last couple of games.
Yeah. Oh yeah, here in the Discord, there have been plenty of Black Grail players accusing the up high of withholding the soup. They claim that they've not received their soup yet. There was some soup. There was a little soup.
If the Beelzeboss would just return to the Court of the Seven, it wouldn't be an issue. So I like to blame the flies, the Lord of the Flies.
Yeah. Well, so 1.6.2 released like 24 hours from time of us filming this in the past. The changelog log dropped today. Obviously not going to look through the main rule book. This thing is going to have most of it. Although there are some issues, apparently. One big glaring thing is going to be the fact that greed did not actually get added in its entirety to the court.
Well,
that's going to be fixed soon.
I also like to blame the Lord of the Flies for that. So
yeah, it's probably the Thrall's fault.
Yeah.
So top of the document, all changes are in red. Now a lot of them are going to be just like clearing up foggy language, and so we should probably just gloss over those. But and that's kind of like the keyword demonic that just they made it less foggy.
Yeah, that's true. It is more direct. You say those changes. However, the one glaring one that I see right here is elite only, limit 3. So we get one more Ophidian rifle now, correct?
Yeah, and so that has the implication that you can have 3, one on each Hell Knight, or you can toss one on your Praetor if you're into that. Now, I also believe that Yoke Fiends can get promoted. I could be wrong, but if you promoted a Yoke Fiend and then you gave them an Ophidian rifle, that could be kind of relevant. Especially given one of the new abilities down below.
Let's see what we got here.
Let's see here. Oh, you take incendiary ammunition, limit 1. Not sure what the limit was there before. And yeah, I know you're still pissed about the Infernal Iron Armor only going on Hell Knights. That's, to be fair, that's...
Where's my Praetor at? Oh, he's at the shop. Damn it.
Yeah. It fits the lore and makes me happy as a new Antioch player that's not going to be on your Praetor. Well, I say I'm new Antioch, but in our campaign, of course, I'm running Heretics.
True. But you're an Antioch main at heart.
Yeah, I am.
So this kind of just clears up the verbiage for the Ophidian rifle. I don't think there was actually a change here.
No real change. No real change to the assault gun.
Yeah.
Of Lethe. Again, no real change.
This was probably cleared up because I'm dumb. Like, to be honest here, for our first 4, maybe 6 games, I thought it was ignores armor and +2 dice. I was feeling pretty good about that. It's not. Thank you to the YouTube comments for helping me learn how to read, because
well, it helped you dish out some comeuppance to the goddamn pilgrims. So
my hunters also outright died 3 times in the campaign, so like, you know, 3rd time's the charm.
Oh yeah, full death. Yeah,
the hunter got what it deserved, but like at the same time,
as he should. Yeah. And there are some people who think that the hunter is a little bit overpowered still, and I think that they did get a little bit of a nerf, which we'll probably see down below. Again, torture instrument, they just cleared up some language. Hellblade cleared up some language.
Again,
all good stuff.
Something I've been forgetting right here is that you can bloodbath them, first off, but also I always forget my secondary blood marker from the Yoke Fiend using the torture instrument. So just a nice little reminder. Like,
if your wretch is down, and they would normally get 2 blood markers or whatever, they get 4 blood markers on them instead. So because it's an additional for each blood marker that it causes.
Oh, right. Yeah, so that's a good point. Hellblade here. I don't think this.
That was just more clarifying language. Yeah. It's just fire +1 die to injure.
Yeah, fire gives a blood marker.
Yeah,
I've been playing against Black Rail so much that I have remembered.
Oh yeah, no, the Hellblade is great against Black Grail. Let's see here. More clarifying language. Get down to Burning Inferno, and they've just like. I think that's also just clarifying language.
Yeah, I believe so. Maybe kind of reiterating the point that you do have penalties on long range. Not for cover because it's an AoE, but the 36-inch range, you know, usually if I'm using that, I'm close to melee combat, but definitely something to bear in mind. They did add a new power, though.
Yeah, the new power is pretty good. And like Burning Inferno is pretty much just a cheap grenade launcher. It does cost blood, but whatever.
That's, yeah.
Slave Master, though. This is a very relevant ability. Any elite in any court warband can take it. Target a Yoke Fiend within 12 inches. Now already this has been... Tuomas is looking into this. He's going to try to do a court v court mirror match with some of his playtesters and see rules as written if it makes sense to be able to control your opponent's Yoke Fiend with this.
Yes.
Which I think is hilarious, and they should leave it in, because the court mirror match is already just stupid and in a fantastic fun way. But allows you to pick one of 4 things: move the Yoke Fiend, make a ranged attack with the Yoke Fiend, melee attack with the Yoke Fiend, or make the Yoke Fiend kill himself.
Where's the usage there? I mean, I guess on the mirror match, but otherwise,
yeah, bro, I have no fucking clue right now.
True.
And I mean, maybe there's going to be some sort of scenario someplace where that's going to make sense, but currently I have no clue. I mean, there's a decent chance that he'll add in more to the court glory item list, which he's going to be going over soon, and there's going to be something that procs on death. Or here's something: is you're already down several guys, and you want to just hit that button and make yourself go to voluntary route.
Yeah.
Like that is a good utility. Like if it's gonna allow you to get out without a scar on a downed Praetor, just
There's the
take
meta
the
level.
L and yeah.
Yeah.
So there is already a use case for that.
It's a lot of dead yoke fiends.
It's a lot of dead yoke fiends.
Yeah.
But it also means like you can trigger it and fire the same flamethrower twice in a turn.
Oh.
That's a big one. Toss 2 gas grenades, you know.
Yeah.
Although Day One Errata, again, Tuomas said specifically that it was not intended to be able to be used by, say, you have your sorcerer and your praetor and all 3 Hell Knights with this ability, allowing you to use the same yoke fiend 6 times. Said that is a bug with the wording.
Uh-huh.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. That seems like the only way to do it, especially for 10 ducats and 3 yoke fiends.
Yeah, and you're spending a blood marker every time. I mean,
yeah. So there's got to be a build up for it. Like it's going to be round 2, round 3 that really, pops off like that. But also to kill your opponent's yoke fiend, you have to be within 12 inches too. So like you don't want to be that close with your, I mean, I guess the Hell Knights and so on. Okay, whatever. But like the Sork was the first one that came to mind for me. It's like, okay.
And also in theory, like you'll want to take this on at least 2 guys. And if you're doing the mirror match and your late campaign and you have all of these blood marker engines, for one, you're going to have very few things like right off the bat that you can get blood markers from. And for 2, if you're using that to just dump into killing yoke fiends easily, it's going to nullify like all of the goetic magic, because those yoke fiends aren't going to be torturing their wretches, it's going to make for like a totally different game.
What I do see is like you could use that melee attack right to hit your wretch a second time in a round. So you could build a blood marker or blood markers quicker that way.
But you are also spending 1 to do that.
But you get 2 back.
Oh yeah, no, you're right.
If you're set up with the torture instrument and all that, which you should be.
So, yeah, and if you have a long range Hell Knight, you can keep it near your battery and squeeze more blood out of that stone.
Yeah. As far as Wrath, I don't think this is an actual change. I think just a verbiage change. Suffers penalties to movement. I should have 6.1 up, but
I think additionally it must make a risky action to charge an enemy model other than the closest one. I believe that. So it is a slight nerf, but 10 ducats, you get guaranteed max charge.
Yeah, so you're going to get in there and hit something.
And chances are, if you already dashed up, you're going to be going after the guy that you're already closest to.
Right.
Like most of the guys who can use that ability are already going to be positioning themselves decently.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm running it on 3 of my Hell Knights, or all 3 Hell Knights, or maybe 2 of them and the Praetor. I'd have to check.
But it isn't something that you can ignore, right? Because if your opponent puts a chaff piece near your Praetor that has the charge of hatred, it could be bad.
It's true.
I haven't gone over a lot of these goetic abilities in quite a while. Like Envious Eyes, the change is a sorcerer with this power can be equipped with a ranged weapon purchased this way, even though they can normally only equip melee weapons. That's
Okay.
cool. That's the ability that lets you pull something from another warband's armory. Coveted position. Model changes positions with another model. It can see, and as long as the bases of the models fit into the new positions. So a little bit of clarifying language there. Sears is mine. Spell can remove a blood marker, blessing marker from any model it can see.
That's pretty slick. I was thinking about running Envy next time.
It is fun, just because you have way more equipment options in theory.
Right, right.
And I like it because of that, because I can take some of the classic equipment that I'm more familiar with.
RPG on a demon. Please, God,
Oh
no.
yeah. Exquisite Pain. Flicks X blood markers on the enemy, where X is the amount of blood markers spent. And this is just pull blood off of your battery, put the blood onto something else, which, is just at will line of sight, which is cool. There's a good argument that the same thing could be done by just hitting that enemy with your Yoke Fiend.
But it allows you to also dropping 2 blood markers on something that's already in combat, that can be really clutch.
Yeah, and again, it's line of sight,
Yeah,
so it's like
anywhere.
not making a roll for it. It's just it happens.
Well, that could be really, really deadly.
Yeah, and it says elite only, lust warband only, which means that you could be putting that on a lot of your dudes.
Oh, that's true too.
That would be great on a Hell Knight right before they pop off an Ophidian rifle shot.
Yeah, that's nasty. Oh. Or before the
Call of-
charge, or oof.
Oh yeah. When the enemy next activates a model during their turn, they have to use a move as their first action. I think this is just clarifying language on Call of Flesh. Essentially, the next model that activates has to move towards the dude who casts the spell, even if it's like actually suicidal for them. And also, they can't shoot or swing at the guy who casts the spell. And there's ways around this, but if your enemy has been saving up like Anchorite or something, or their sniper for their last activation, you can pop this off. It goes to their turn. They have to activate them, and then they plummet to their death.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. That's awesome. Or to just kite the Anchorite around even more.
Oh, yeah, because, you fly your sorcerer up their back line or whatever. I think it's a new ability.
Oh,
Belly of the Beast. Yeah. Whenever an enemy model inflicts 1 or more blood markers on this model with a melee attack, that model suffers 1 blood marker. You'd put that on like a melee Hell Knight or something.
Yeah, I guess it's only Hell Knight. I was thinking it was something that you could cast, but yeah, it's just an innate ability.
But even then, with the new generic spell, I would, for most warband compositions, I would want to just have the new Yoke Fiend spell over Belly of the Beast.
Yeah, I think so.
I can see if you're trying to, if you already know that you have essentially all of your excess blood markers accounted for, that is a decent passive just to take up that slot.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it is only 5 ducats, which, kind of explains why it feels a little underwhelming. I've never enjoyed the Thorns builds, whether it's Diablo or Path of Exile or any of that. It's like, I don't want to be getting hit. So,
yeah, I want a little bit more active play. I
don't know.
I guess that's why I prefer not to even take much armor in my lists. Is
So true.
Like, I mean, okay, we're late campaign now, and because I don't want high model count, I have a lot of armor in my campaign list. But most of the time when I'm building a list, it's like something on my tough guys. But otherwise, I would rather just try and use the outplay as the armor.
Right. You don't need a shield if you don't get hit.
But, you know, or rather, I frequently fail.
Well,
Yeah.
Compared to, what was that? The Exquisite Pain. I mean, it is 3 times the cost, but that just feels so much better for 15 ducats. That's the one that does up to 2 blood markers on an enemy model. Like, that just feels brutal. Belly of the Beast is like, okay, all right, you're kind of tough, but like, if you could cast that, I think it would be a little bit better.
That's true. But that isn't a void, because like you have Eater of Flesh in Gluttony too. Whenever a model without demonic or black grail suffers blood markers in melee combat from a model with this power, you can remove any of those markers and heal an equal number of blood markers from the model with Eater of the Flesh power.
Okay. Maybe I underestimated how tanky they could be.
Yeah.
It's also limit 1 on both of these. Well, on Uncaring Gluttony and Eater of the Flesh. Limit 1.
Yeah. And I mean, I get it. There is like a concerted effort, right, to not overstep Black Grail when it comes to the Gluttony.
That's a good point.
Because obviously they're going to have some similarities, but like they need to be unique.
They need to return to the court is what they need to do.
Well, yeah.
Damn you, Beelzebub.
In any case, we get on down to the Praetor. A little bit of clarifying language there. That's about it.
Do to my boy.
Yeah, I know they're nerfed down to 8-inch flying. It's been that way for a while. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the flying movement nerf. I know we've been playing with that for.
It should definitely be 8. It should be 8. As much as I love it, like, no, 10-inch fly is actually insane. Like, do you want a Praetor right on your front line immediately? I know that that's what he's there to do, right? But like,
I would even be on board 12. I know a lot of people probably hate that.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
That's bold.
I know. And that's his, again, new Antioch player. But I want the like only big stupid actual demon in the game to be like an actual fucking problem. Like I want it to be so. It should cost more too.
Whoa!
But it should.
Whoa!
Yeah.
How much?
If it with
115
this stat
base.
Line, well, okay. So with this stat line, if it had 12-inch flying movement, 145.
Oh, okay.
And you would happily pay that.
I would. Yeah. Damn it. Yeah, 145. Like, it feels like a lot though, but like for what you're getting out of it, okay. You get
and it's,
base plus 3 plus 3.
We're never getting the Turbo Praetor back.
Okay, hear me out. 145, and it has infernal armor, built-in infernal armor. Just the Praetor. Can't take it on nothing else but the Hell Knights. But like, look at his armor on the model, man. What?
Okay. 12-inch fly, infernal armor, and it costs 175.
No, 155. Final offer. 155. You only get one of them.
All right, 175 and his wings get a bite attack.
Okay. All right. Now we're talking. Yeah, I like that a lot. That's insane, actually. Yeah,
No,
actually, why
totally
don't
broken
they?
the
Hang on.
campaign.
What?
Yeah.
What? It's only 175 points. That's like 30 yeomen.
No, and Mike put so many teeth on that. He
Yeah,
spent so
like,
much time putting
this should
so
get
many
2
teeth
bite
on
attacks.
that. Okay.
It's got
He
2
should get
wings.
his wings should have a bite attack. But that's just like my opinion, man.
Yeah,
So,
I like that. It doesn't have to be a crazy bite attack, just like an extra little. Oh yeah, I forgot about this.
Yeah.
After
No,
I
it
hit
can
you with
take
the
the
Malabronk sword
penalty.
twice.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Just a little something, something. You know?
Oh man,
Give the
175.
demons some love, especially the less demon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, give maybe like tier options, right? Right. So you can pick like, okay, so you've got your 115 with the 8-inch fly, or you've got 12-inch fly 145, or you've got 12-inch fly plus, albeit cheaper, even cheaper infernal armor for the 175, because that would only be 40 versus 50 ducats.
Yeah, I mean,
So
that would even be kind of like the
you're kind of cooking.
Warhammer Fantasy 6th edition, like where you're building your
That's a
chaos lords
fine
and
point.
demons and whatnot. It's like you have the entire tome of all these extra magic items and all the shit that I would like a Praetor and Sorcerer building experience beyond just the equipment and goetic powers and whatnot. Those are great, but I think that each one should have like so many fucking options that you could make a starting warband of just a Praetor and 2 Wretched, or like a Wretched and a Yokebean, and have your entire 700. You know, you have a 600 point Praetor, and then you just have a couple of dudes, and it would be a fucking menace.
Yeah,
some people wouldn't have fun. I don't care. They're playing the wrong reasons, in my opinion.
You're playing the game wrong. It's legendary.
But again, probably not going to happen for balance reasons. But that would be fantastic. That's my ideal Praetor situation right there.
I mean, no, I think I agree. I was worried about the big cost at first, but actually I tend to agree.
Sorcerer, nothing new.
Yeah, really, you must purchase one. I think they just kind of changed the way this was written.
Yeah, a lot of the original writing for Court was wordy and kind of twisted and confusing and whatever.
Well, they are demons.
Yeah, and actually, I'm for that. I think that this warband should be a reading comprehension test. It should horrors beyond your wildest imagination.
Yeah.
You have to be looking shit up in the dictionary. Your warband, right? Okay.
Geotic. Shadow Walker, as a retreat action with Geotic 2, the hunter retreats from melee combat without enemy models getting any free attacks against it. These both look like verbiage changes, I believe. Unless
they added a bunch of extra words so that you couldn't cheese left-hand path. Essentially, you need line of sight for charging, but that's the majority.
I see. But also moves into contact with a piece of scenery that is at least 2 inches wide, and then it can cast the spell to walk the path between hell and creation. So I can't be teleporting off of like a porch or something like something small on the battlefield, right?
Yeah, it has to be something of substance. So there's
singular piece of rubble.
Vacation. Although someone already kind of brought up a way to cheese this with the new you have to take the most efficient path after you get out of the left-hand path terrain. Is you see your charge target during the charge, left-hand path into an adjacent terrain piece, and then you choose your exit terrain piece as something way over on the other side of the map, wherein your direct path to that charge target is significantly over 12, but there's an interceding model there that is within your charge distance that you originally could not see, so that you end up charging that model who's interceding your new charge path and failing your original charge.
Okay, I follow. Yeah, I think you're right. I think demons need to remain wordy and ridiculous just for things like that. Oh my god.
They need to double the amount of words in every ability.
Right. I like that you guys cleaned it up a little bit, but actually I want it more convoluted.
Yeah.
Like double the convoluted.
If you could just break into Latin for like 4 or 5 lines in the middle of an ability, that'd be great.
Yeah. Oh, you can't read it? Yeah, you can't use it. Sorry. Did they change anything else here? I guess we capitalized a T. Glad we did that.
Oh, yes. Couldn't have it looking like some sort of Christian cross.
That's why they did it. Just all of the T's are now capitalized. Oh.
Yoke Fiend, Torturer.
Yeah, I don't think anything changed there.
Just some clarifying stuff. Wretched.
Trigger friendly non-demonic models within 1 inch and make melee attacks. Onto the wretched. Oh, these ones are bright. They capitalize the W's. Holy, I don't know why that singular. Look how bright it is. Holy. All right. I'm going to scroll past. Pit Locust, a couple of things capitalized, other things not capitalized. Desecrated Saint. What do they do? Can be equipped with any melee weapons from the court armory and can make a melee attack action once per activation with each melee weapon it is equipped with.
So, clarifying language there. But if you scroll down just a little bit.
Yes, they have added the aura of greed. So when an enemy model declares a charge, they must charge the Desecrated Saint if visible, not in cover and within 12 inches of the saint. Okay. A charging model must be able to reach this model without climbing, jumping, or crossing dangerous terrain. That's wild.
So I think that that's pretty similar to the Tarnished armor, if I'm remembering correctly, from Knights of Avarice. Although definitely, 12 inches is a pretty fat bubble for that.
Yeah. Wow.
And so I'm curious to see what Tuomas came up with for the goetic spells and powers for them, which we didn't get to see because of a clerical error.
I think we're being too greedy.
Yeah. Well,
we need the aura of patience.
Antioch, I would be a servant of Mammon, most likely.
Right. We need to get you a warband printed.
Oh yeah. It's in the works.
Yeah, greed is going to be,
heretics on my desk.
Ooh,
but
yep,
I get that shit primed.
That's a good doggy. Love to see it.
He's a good boy. In the campaign, my werewolf is actually an elite now.
What? Oh, that's terrifying.
Yeah. My first game with the werewolf, he got a promotion.
That's rad.
Trench ghosts were okay. Trench ghosts got a big nerf. They got a couple nerfs.
That's what I've heard.
They lost battlefield looters, so they can't take extra items. It means they can't spam AMRs, which was actually a big thing. Semi-corporeal, that's just so they used to have -1 die to injure them. Now it's just with ranged attacks, not with melee attacks.
Okay.
But all of their models with 6-inch movement got kicked down to 5-inch movement, and they suffer -1 dice. They suffer -1 dice to all models retreating from them, like to do the opportunity attack,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But the big thing is even with getting knocked down to 5, they still retain the thing where they can only dash at half move, move speed.
Hmm.
So they can go 5 inches plus 2.5 on a dash, which means at best they're only going 7.5 without using Puppet Master.
So they have to get really close now. Okay.
Yeah. So instead of being able to move 12 like most people, their entire warband is capped out at 7.5.
Hmm.
Little rough.
Wow. Yeah.
They are still some of the best shooty guys like in the game, and they're hard to kill. They do ignore most of the terrain stuff. Like they ignore difficult terrain. They ignore gas.
So they can basically move straight for you.
Oh yeah, but it's rough for the objective games, especially on a 4-turn scenario.
The 12-inch fly praetor.
Yeah, oh yeah, you know.
Like, what?
They're essentially like dwarves now. You know, they don't move much. It's hard to kill them. They've got some of the best range in the game.
They do have the artillery.
So you really have to want that play style, you know.
Mhm.
It's not really for me, right? Like I like stuff like Prussia, where they're more likely to get up there while they're doing their ranged and whatnot. A little bit
A
mixed.
couple of pop shots and W key at the enemy.
Yeah, exactly.
Sarcophagus Mine does seem really good.
Sarcophagus Mine, 35 ducats, up to 2 troopers can be turned into mines. Essentially suicide bombers, right? And yeah, those can be really good, especially in one-off games, you know.
That's true too. Don't have to worry about the loss.
They don't get war wolves. They don't get artillery witches. But who cares? Because you just bring in 5 anointed, essentially.
Yeah.
Right.
No artillery witches though? That seems rough.
Yeah, well, they're artificial, you know, they're created. Can't turn a robot into a ghost, you know.
Yeah, okay. I have a feeling people are going to be pretty upset about the move speed and just in general on this.
Their French ghost mains are pissed right now.
Yeah.
But
there was a lot of talk about
really care.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk about how good they were, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll check that out. And then this morning I was talking to you about it, and you're like, they got nerfed. And I'm like, oh, well, back to the court then. Okay.
Don't meta chase.
Nope.
Play what you play.
It gets banned every time I think about it. Every single game I play, oh, is that the meta? And it's gone.
And it's gone. There's some big ones here. A lot of clarifying languages and little tweaks with limits and whatnot.
Right.
New thing, you can take machine gun on your amalgam.
That's disgusting.
2 strong arms again. Again, pretty relevant. You can now take shotguns and
was the strong arm changed in 1.6? Is that when that was changed to 1?
They had entirely removed strong at one point.
Full arm for the Plague Knight only now.
I feel like the amalgam should be able to take that.
If they can take a great hammer, but not the pole arm.
I think it's supposed to be a balanced thing with the -1 to hit if you charge him, you know. But also, again, let the big model have some extra bits and bobs if they want to invest in it, in my opinion. Compound Eyes helmet, you can take 3 now, but it's only elite and herald. That's a new weapon that was teased a while back and is now in the rule book. Essentially, get +1 dice to hit with ranged. Cost 10. I believe it's also a combat helmet on top of that. Yeah, it's a combat helmet and gives +1 ranged dice. It's a good item. It really opens a variety of new builds for your elites, especially with the Grail devotees that they added.
Still limit to. God, they're brutal though.
Rolls injuries with a flat +1 bonus to all of its attack actions. So that's a crazy piece of equipment. There is actually currently in the campaign document an issue where there's this 6-cost glory item, Locust Spitter. You shoot that Locust Spitter, it bounces until the projectile has gone its full 18 inches. But if your dude firing the Locust Spitter has 2 Grail devotees, each one of those is getting +2 dice to injure. And essentially, I mean, you saw it on our last battle report, right? It's just like wiped out a huge chunk of my warband. Kind of problematic.
Yeah. The same night, I lost a Praetor and the Sorcerer. And then I took that thing out with the quickness as soon as it went off. But yeah, he knocked Tough off the Praetor. Praetor got bipped with it, and then Sork got taken out with it. It was, shameful. And my Wretched and, Yoke Fiends got pummeled a little bit as well. But yeah, that +2, man, it is extra deadly.
Oh yeah, no, it cleared out some of my Wretched, popped Tough on my Priest, it killed one of my Anointed. So pretty much the same shit that you experienced.
Yeah. It's very strong. I know it's a lot of glory points, but wow.
Yeah.
It's quite the combo.
It's quite the combo. It'll probably receive some tuning soon. Probably about the same time the Black Grail receives its soup.
No. They're not going to call that soup. They're going to call that a nerf. They're going to be very upset. The flies will be buzzing.
Oh, yeah.
Let them buzz.
Let the flies buzz. Buzz, buzz.
I think
yeah. What was the other big thing? The Viscera Cannon now no longer causes infection. Just causes blood when you spend your additional blood markers.
I'm on the fence with this just because, like, the infection markers is something that the Black Grail only really get to interact with. So, like, I'm for them not even causing normal blood markers even.
Yeah, I mean, that could just be a blanket thing where any of these funky weapons cause infection markers instead.
Yeah. Like, the normal weapons like sword and whatnot obviously wouldn't. But
like Infested Rifle, Corruption Belcher, Putrid Shotgun does, but Viscera Cannon,
I mean, it's quite good, but what is the cost on the Viscera Cannon? 50 ducats, and you only get 2 of them. Yeah, I don't know. I think it was fine as infection markers. Maybe there's some meta level thing I'm missing there, but I just kind of like it for flavor's sake.
It was also a little weird because the normal hit would cause blood, but then the extraneous ability would cause infection, but it would give blood to the user. So it was like kind of 3 things going on at once.
Yeah.
It would be fine if it was just it only gives infection to the opponent and only gives blood to the user.
Yeah. I feel like that's a little bit more direct, especially for 50 ducats, and it's going to be like, every warband's going to have at least one at that point, right?
Yeah, exactly. Especially because even just the 24-inch range, I mean,
Yeah, that is.
That's one. Guns. You have machine gun now. Oh, I guess you can take a bolt action rifle, but who's going to hold that bolt action rifle, right?
Not Harold.
Yeah, you're going to give something. You're going to give something goofy to your Herald because there's all these goofy gubbins that Black Grail has. Of course, you're not going to take the fucking bolt action rifle.
So, that being said, what did they change on the Plague Blade? Did it not cause infection markers previously?
I
Or they
think that
just
was just clarification.
narrowed it down a bit? Okay.
I would also be fine with tossing gas on the Plague Blade, kind of like the Hellblade has fire. I get that it's already doing.
What was the cost on the Plague Blade?
It's 10, but you can only
10.
take 2, and it's elite only.
Make
But
it
also,
15, give it gas damage.
Black Grail is slow, so it's late game. You're barely even gonna do anything with that infection. It may net you 1 extra infection, maybe 2.
Yeah.
5 or 6 turn scenario that could be significantly more, but infection on a melee weapon just isn't going to do a hell of a lot.
A little bit of flavor on the Beelzebub's axe.
Keep scrolling past it. Oh, yeah. With blades crafted in the form of a fly spreading its wings, this enormous axe is eternally covered with the corruption and filth of Beelzebub.
See, that should cause infection markers.
Oh, yeah, it sure does.
It also counts as a trench shield. Jesus.
No, you're reading down into Black Grail Shield.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm dumb. Totally skipped over the spot where it said +2 dice causes infection markers. See, it's even capitalized so that we notice. I didn't.
And Beelzebub's axe is 30 ducats, and that makes sense. I mean, I don't really see at a meta level taking Plague Blade over Great Hammer on a Corpse Guard.
Yeah.
Wait, are Corpse Guard strong? No, they aren't. Never mind. I retract that statement.
Shoot.
It makes sense.
Yeah,
On the
they
Corpse
get
Guard.
Plague Blade.
Plague Blade one-handed.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's been a while. Yeah, it's one-handed.
Plague's
okay.
one-handed. The axe
Maybe
is two-handed heavy.
But also, then it doesn't have critical. Really, I'm just taking the 4-point sword over Plague Blade.
Yeah.
I don't know. Melee infection just doesn't do it for me.
No. It's going to be a tough one to make work. And Black Grail Shield.
Your noble hierarchy.
Oh, yes.
So you can take a Lord of Tumors and a Plague Knight, or you can take 2 Plague Knights. But if you choose the 2 Plague Knights, you'll never be able to buy a Lord of Tumors.
Right.
And that could hamper you so fucking hard in a campaign right now.
Yeah, I think taking one of each is definitely the move.
Yeah. They just have the warband as it stands has issues drumming up enough things to spend money on in the last third of the campaign. And that is changing a little bit because you can now take a 3rd Corpse Guard. And that's relevant.
Yeah.
You know, they got
that's
toys
huge
to spend money on. They do have a lot of toys. It's just they don't have many guys to put those toys on.
Yeah, right. They need more arms. So it looks
Someone
like
was mentioning that it would be cool if you could have your Grail Thralls explode and deal infection markers or something.
Yeah, I think that would make sense for them. Play them off kind of like the Pilgrims.
Have 2 or 3 limit on that.
Yeah, like the bloated thrall just lumbers up and explodes. Oh no.
Here's another change. Disease carrier on Hounds of the Black Grail.
Let's see here.
If an enemy model is activated while in melee combat with the Hound, that model suffers 1 infection marker. And
Down here, reiterating, thralls cannot be equipped with any weapons or armor or equipment.
Again, someone was like, well, what if a thrall can just take 1 piece of equipment? As in, like, you could buy them a sword, or you could buy them a shield, or you could buy them a shotgun, or a mountaineering kit.
Nope.
But literally just 1 item. 1 single item.
You can buy them their damned life. That's what you bought for 25 ducats. You get a body.
Yeah. No, and I really think that it should stay that way.
If you get multiple, you get +1 die on your melee, which is 0 if you don't have more than 3 of them.
Honestly, like, I almost feel like the big fix here is just removing the limit on Corpse Guard and knocking them down out of Elite. Or, like, allowing you to take non-Elite Corpse Guard. I could be off base there. That may fuck up balance someplace, but what I think they need is more just, like, a dude who can have a build.
Increasing it to 3 is good. I mean, but the Hounds also got some love. I don't know.
But you can't
buy with 3
for the Hounds. You can't buy anything for the Thralls.
It's true. You just have basic 55 ducat, basic 25 ducat. You just have to dump money into them.
They can't take melee weapons. They can really only take a ranged weapon. Can they even take equipment?
10-inch flying on the Heralds, I gotta say, does make sense.
Oh yeah, no, they should be hella fast.
Yeah.
And they're, paper thin. That's totally fine.
Yeah. They don't look as tanky, or they're not actually as tanky as they look. The maddening buzz, though, oh my god. Ruined me.
Oh yeah.
Nearly ruined me. Yes. I narrowly won my Black Grail match, but
maybe the fix is actually like allowing more heralds, not allowing more of them to take maddening buzz.
No, you don't need more than 4 heralds. Nope, can't agree.
Yeah, so just to give options,
All right, I'm taking 8 heralds with maddening buzz, getting the +2 on the ranged attacks, and then just maddening buzzing all of you. Like, you just fly in all of your flies, right? They just all of a sudden can't do anything if they start failing, and then you just plink them off with the what was the name of the rifle that needs some work?
Which one?
The one that almost cost both of us our games last week.
Oh, the Locust Spitter.
The Locust Spitter, thank you.
Stupid thing.
Yeah. Okay, so you got that on the back lines, and you just hold them down with the Heralds of Beelzebub. Like, oh no, limit of 4, that's fine.
Locust Spitter on that thing.
Oh no.
Christ.
What was the previous cost of the amalgam here?
Oh, I think it was 150. I'm not sure. But I think it got brought down. There's some clarifying language in most of this, but then they got their strong back. I think we already rambled about that.
Yeah. Glad to see that. Just makes sense. I mean, the model's huge. 60mm base. It better be strong. Like, what?
Yeah, there was initially a balance issue with it. I won't fit. But that was before Court came out. Since Court and the campaign rules have come out, like,
okay.
The balance here is a lot different than when this first dropped. And a lot of the early playtesting of Black Grail was like 700, 900 point games.
Yeah.
But when you're spending, what are we at? Like, we're going into 15, 1600, something
Yeah,
like
right
that.
about there. I think 1,500 ducats on the next. Yeah, court needs something to burn those ducats on. Or maybe the point
That
is just
Grail,
to.
no, court
Sorry,
has plenty of shit.
Black Grail. Yeah. Yeah, sorry. Court adjacent needs to return to the court. But maybe the point of the warband is you get that extra money just for the recursion overall. Like maybe it's encouraging, get those thralls into combat, get them killed. Who cares? They cost 25. You've got 700 ducats in the bank because you can't spend it on anything but thralls and new dogs and so on.
Oh yeah. No, I mean that is a thing.
Like they're guaranteed to
Oh,
have some sort of bank if
end up
they
tossing
don't let
gas
them have
on everyone.
more of the yeah, but if they don't let them have more corpse guard, like those guys you can outfit. Everything else, like, yep, you only brought one plague knight because
They could
that's
also
kind of the
do
only
something
option.
like with the artillery witch, where after a certain threshold, you can just take a second amalgam, and then
Yeah,
you can dump points into another amalgam. That might actually be the limit increase that I'm most for. Like after just looking through all this,
maybe at like 1,100, 1,200,
yeah,
you get
like
a new
1100,
amalgam.
you can take a second amalgam. At 1600, you can take a third amalgam.
Okay, I'm actually fine with that. Yeah,
Yeah, and
that would
it's
be rad.
the thing is the amalgam's not even that hard to deal with. It doesn't have ranged or melee bonuses. It can't take armor other than a shield.
True.
I mean, it's tough. It has
It can just do a lot
corpulent
of
for the
things.
-2 dice, but
Yeah,
like in my last game, two activations with anointed with anti-material rifle, and it was gone.
yeah, that's true. So having another one or two later in the game, I could definitely see being viable.
And then you can give them different builds. You can have your melee amalgam. You can have your amalgam with a machine gun and 2 bolt action rifles.
Right.
You can have your tertiary amalgam at the end of the campaign that has your 3 putrid shotguns, whatever.
Yep. I think that would be a good point dump for them. They definitely need something besides like, okay, now I think Nick had said he had, I can't remember, a couple hundred ducats left over that have just been kind of racking up over and over. He's also been very fortunate in his games up until our last one there, but
Yeah, and I mean, I had focused down like his Sin Eater and it died outright, but none of his other shit died outright.
yeah, true.
So he lost glory, but not,
Yeah.
you know.
Maybe a ducat to glory exchange at some level, like even when you're at 1,000 limit or 1,100, kind of that same threshold, to be able to transfer those ducats to glory to pick up some of those more expensive items and so on.
Yeah. Also, like even if they just so you can take multiple amalgams later on. Also add in a post game mechanic where you can trade in 6 thralls for an amalgam.
That's kind of cool. Yeah. Well, I think
I,
the rest of this is kind of errata stuff. Um, we are going to be recording not this week, unfortunately, but next week. We had a big snowstorm come in last week, and nobody could make it up the mountain to game with us. Unfortunate.
Nope.
But we shall all return next Thursday. What is today? The 19th. So a week from tomorrow. And hopefully I'll have that video up soon thereafter.
That'll actually be second day of Adepticon as well.
Ah, good timing. Good timing.
Well, we won't be there. We sent the team a whole bunch of stuff for the booth.
Yeah, you guys have to check out the posters and the banners, man. It's going to be super cool. I hope to see a lot of pictures on Twitter. Somebody take pictures at Adepticon for us. We want to live vicariously.
Absolutely.
We've received requests to post the intro song, so I'm going to get on that very soon. And we're also planning a giveaway here very soon. We have a new background banner that we're going to start using for our games at the shop. And we're going to figure out a way that makes sense to do a giveaway running for our previous one. So one of you lucky viewer out there could win our Trench Crusade banner with the original logo, the OG.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, that thing's like a 4x7 banner or whatever.
What is the background image on that one?
Yuck, artillery battery.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You just get like this vast view of New Antioch and kind of the back lines.
Yeah, you got the trench and the guys with the brim tats. What are they called? The Brody helms?
Oh, yeah.
It's good stuff. Good classic Trench Crusade piece.
Yeah. Big shout out to Mike. He does amazing work. Love to see it. Everybody stay tuned. We're going to be doing that giveaway and some other fun stuff coming up, as well as we're going to figure out what to do after our campaign here.
Probably play some Tonks.
Maybe we'll do some Tonks even. Get a couple of those games in, and then most likely straight back into the Trench Crusade. Kind of feeling Heretics, so we'll see.
Yeah, I've been missing playing Prussia. Really, I want to do some one-off games before we start a campaign again, just so that I can
maybe like
feel out changes.
Yeah, we'll do like 2 or 3 or like half a dozen or maybe a dozen, something along those lines. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. We will catch you next time.
Will not die.